The basketball addicts are back at it, rating the top PGs in the L. ESPN pitched in by asking 25 of the best minds, players, coaches, and executives who are the top 30. We're giving you the top 10, going right down the list. Russell Westbrook, top dog, Stephen Curry, Deuce, Trace, Chris Paul, Kyrie Irving, therefore. What jumps out at you, gentlemen, from this list? I'll tell you right now what jumps out at me. The fact that I love Kyle Lowry, but to put him ahead of a guy like Tony Parker, who has won 4 NBA chips. That is a very interesting perspective, but then again, some people will question whether democracy works. So let's get into it, gentlemen. What jumps out at you from this list?
I'm going to say the same thing you said, though. It jumped out at me because I think Tony Parker is unstoppable when it comes to the big shot, the big game, the right assist. He just cannot be stopped. And I think at times, Kyle's my boy, but he can be stopped.
All right.
It's an interesting list. I mean, it shows you where the game is today. I mean, those are 10 amazing players.
Yes.
But I think in the historical context, I think 1 and 2 are ultimately going to be considered among the game's greats. That's Westbrook and Curry. I do think they're ahead of Paul. And I think Chris Paul's sliding a little bit, and he gets away a little bit on his reputation and his leadership, although he's still a very nice player. But, yeah, I mean, Tony Parker is, come on. You would put him, you would choose him to be on your team any day of the week, maybe ahead of anyone on that list, maybe.
All right, back to the argument.
Are we okay with the 1-2 with Steph being 2 and Westbrook being 1?
Are you not
it's
okay
pretty
with
close.
it?
It's pretty close.
It's very close. I'd put Steph at the top.
At 1?
At 1.
Seriously?
I'd put Steph at 1.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
so you mean tell me at the end of a game.
See, these two say Steph, and we say
Okay, at the end of a game, you need a bucket.
Steph Curry.
Steph Curry.
From anywhere on earth.
Can we just look at this season? Yeah, can we look at this season? Who's hit that big bucket at the end of the game to win games or set up his teammate more this season?
I don't know.
I don't know if that's the argument because, I mean, a lot of times, because of the way the Golden State Warriors play, teams are out of the game and sometimes by 10, 15.
Well, by 20, yeah.
Whereas games are hanging in the balance when Russell Westbrook is being asked.
Very good point.
If you need a winning shot, you don't want Steph Curry taking
I'll tell you right now, guess what?
Please.
My winning shot might be a free throw. And guess who's going to get me that free throw?
Steph Curry. You think he's going to miss the free throw? He's shooting 90%.
Okay, Westbrook will get you the line.
time.
Here's the thing we were talking about earlier. Westbrook is great. He is an amazing player. But he's getting a lot of open shots, and you look at his shooting percentage, he's not hitting them. There's probably a reason why he's getting those open shots. Yes, he's quick, but they're okay with him shooting those. Other teams are okay with him shooting those because they know that he's not always going to hit them.
They're also okay with that because they know they don't have to guard a lot of other people on that team, and they can pack the box on him. When Kevin Durant gets back on the floor with Cantor and those guys, you can no longer pack the box on Russell. And by the way, they're packing the box right now. And what does he do? He goes, okay, fine. I'll go get the rebound, and I'll make the pass, and I'll make the shot.
Does a lot.
Hey, he's playing amazing.
Quickly, are we all, I know Dan chimed in, are we comfortable with Chris Paul as the 3rd best point guard in this, the golden era of point guards in this NBA?
That shows how the point guard position has changed, guys. It really has, because it used to be the guy setting out the dimes, but I would put Kyrie Irving above him. I would right now.
I might even move Dame Lillard above him.
Dame Lillard.
Dame Lillard. That's what we're going with today. Yeah, I'd put Dame above him.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I'd slip him down to the 5th spot maybe and move those two guys.
I'd have Parker 3rd on that list.
I'd like to have Parker higher.
Put it that way. Yeah. Oh yeah. He doesn't have the numbers, but he doesn't need it. He just wins. The Spurs just
and he makes everybody around him way better.
So here's another question. Like, you know, on one side of the coin, Chris Paul doesn't need to win to do anything to get anyone to consider him one of the top point guards. But a guy like Mike Conley, what does he need to do now for someone to, you know, mention his name among the elites? Because all he does is consistently put his team in a position to win, put up great numbers, and protect the ball.
He's the one putting them in that position. I mean, I think Gasol and Randolph are doing most of that work.
But on a lot of teams that have had good bigs, it's been very rare that you see people, you know, bring the ball up, control the ball, give them possession, and defer. They've got a great point guard there.
Okay, Conley is a very, very nice player, but he's not really making Marc Gasol and Zebo better. You know, he doesn't have the stats. They haven't really done that much in terms of winning divisions, winning in the playoffs. They've had a couple of runs over the years, and he's a great player, but there's no way I rank him ahead of some of those other names. There's just no way.
He's gotten better every season. Like, every season's gotten better and consistent. But, yeah, I agree. You could put another point guard in that system, and it would still work.
Okay, now, talking of great point guards, of course, this last week we found out that the greatest point guard to ever wear the Canadian national senior men's team jersey retired. Steve Nash Looking back on his storied and famed career, what is your favorite Steve Nash NBA memory, gentlemen? I'll start with you, Dan Glavin.
Do we have to start NBA? Because
it doesn't have to be NBA.
My favorite moment with Nash is with the Canadian Olympic team in 2000 in Sydney, and just that team. I wish they had won a medal. It would be so amazing to this very day. But I mean, in the NBA, I really liked him with the Mavericks. Him and Dirk when they were really up and coming as NBA players, and there was an incredible series. I think it was against Portland where they were up 3-0, and Portland came back and tied the series, and Dirk and Nash won it in Game 7. But I loved him playing with Dallas. I think Nick Van Exel was on that team too.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So that's my favorite memory of Nash in the NBA.
A way quicker version than Dan's favorite. Everybody.
I'll give you the remix.
The camera hog.
When you break your nose and you pop it back,
yeah.
It brought out, I know we always talk about hockey here in Canada, but it brought out that toughness in basketball. When you pop your nose back in and go out there and light them up, and go 2 MVPs and make people like Shaq jealous and Kobe jealous. That was my boy. I was like, Canada.
Evo, even faster.
You know what? I loved every play he did on the court. He made passing sexy. He really did. But my favorite is at a club, I'm just kind of dancing away, and I look over, and it's Steve Nash going, hey, what's up, man? And doing the same thing and just partying away. And I was like, that's my favorite. Same moves. I'm like, that's my favorite Steve Nash.
All right, shouts out to the big man, the Prez, the man in charge of Canada senior men's national team. We're looking the best for you, man. Honestly, you've done so much for all of us. Shouts out to Steve Nash. On the other side of the break, we got to talk about what's going on in Dallas, his old stomping grounds. Mark Cuban and his team. They got a lot of concerns in their backcourt. Monte Ellis making waves. And then Raging Rondo. He's always causing trouble for Rick Carlisle. All that and more when we return on Hangout. Hangout!